Hey, faith walkers, how are you doing? I hope you are good and you're trusting God no matter what. Thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Reconnect. I'm an author, I'm an educator, I'm a speaker. This channel is here to help you as faith walkers to grow in faith, to understand what is faith, and to just ultimately live and walk by faith in every aspect of our life. And so tonight, I want to share with you a little about feeling, why it is that you might feel distant from the Lord. As faith walkers, sometime in our journey, we do not read the word like we should. We're not praying any fervent and effectual prayer at all. We're not worshiping. We just feel disconnected from the Lord, and we want to know why, and we want to be able to reconnect, and we want to be able to stay connected. And tonight, we just want to share that. So if this is your first time with us, go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment, share some of your reasons, some of the things that you've experienced, some of the when you feel distant from the Lord. Why is it that you feel distant, and how is it that you reconnect in the presence of the Lord? How it is that you reconnect with the Lord? So for me, when I thought about this topic, I said to myself, well, a lot of times if I feel disconnected from the Lord and I think about it honestly, it's because one, I have become complacent. I have become complacent. Two is that I might just be overwhelmed. I might just be tired, or sometimes it can be that you're under a spiritual attack. And three, you need to check what is it that you're feeding your spirit. Those are the three things why you might be feeling disconnected. Three of the many, but I look at three things today. So when you are disconnected and you're wondering why, you have to ask yourself, am I being complacent? Now, a lot of time we become complacent when we have had an experience. I don't know about you, but you've had an experience with the Lord. You've had an encounter. You've been filled up in the presence of the Lord, and you're feeling good, and you're spiritually strong and spiritually firm, and you have been doing good. And all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, it happens gradually, because you feel as if you have been filled up, and because you have been going through the motion. So you might be praying for people, you might be doing the work of the Lord, you might be doing all of these things, but you're not refilling. So you become complacent, and to be complacent suggests that you are self-satisfied. You are pleased with where you are. So you now become pleased with where you are spiritually, and you're not seeking for more. Now, one of the things about complacency that it speaks to is that it says that's a situation that you're often not aware of, that there's danger or some deficiency or some defect in the background. Once we become complacent, we are going to experience being distant from the Lord, or we're going to experience where we become spiritually dry and malnourished. Because when we become complacent, we become comfortable, we become satisfied, we feel as if we have arrived, we feel as if I am good with the Lord. And then all of a sudden, again, I keep saying all of a sudden, but I'm not sure if it's all of a sudden, gradually you are depleting, gradually you're losing the fervor that you once felt, and then you find yourself just drifting from the Lord. Have you been complacent? Ask yourself, if you're feeling distant from the Lord right now, have you been complacent? And if you have, the question is how it is that you reconnect to the Lord. Now, remember, why it is that we need to ensure that we reconnect, or we seek not to become complacent, because the word of God says that the enemy comes but to kill, steal, and to destroy. So any opportunity the enemy has, he's going to take it. So if we become complacent and feel that, oh, I'm good, I'm awesome, God and I have a good thing going on and I'm filled up and I'm power packed, and you don't do what you're supposed to do because you're satisfied, the enemy is going to run in and the enemy is going to rip us apart. He's going to suck us dry and he's going to leave us to die. And we cannot afford for that to happen as faith walkers, because our aim is to constantly be walking in faith. Our aim is to constantly be surrendering and seeking the Lord and to ensure that we're always filled up. And so, what do we need to do to ensure that we remain connected and not be distant from the Lord? The first thing I would say is that if you're going to ensure that you remain connected to the Lord, is that you have to never feel satisfied with where you are spiritually. You can never be fully satisfied. You have to always be hungry. You have to always be thirsty for more. You have to always be saying, Lord, fill me up until I overflow. You have to always be overflowing. You cannot run on empty. So you have to always be filling up to ensure that you do not become distant from the Lord. And when you do become distant from the Lord, you have to return to where you found him. Go back into the state of mind where you were surrendering to God, where you were searching for him, where you were seeking him. And how do we do that? We talk about there's some fundamental things that we can never drift from, and that's reading the word, and that's praying, and that's worshiping, and that's fasting. We can never drift from those things. And so if you find yourself being complacent, you have to go back to where you found him. So after you've identified your why, you have to go back to where you have found him. There is something that says if you find yourself a bit irritated or overwhelmed, it might be a sign that you're spending less time with God and more time with the world. So are you spending more time with the world? Then go back and find the Lord. The second thing why we might feel distant from the Lord is that sometimes we're overwhelmed. Sometimes we're just tired. And when we are tired, it also gives an opportunity for the Lord, not for the Lord, it gives an opportunity for the enemy to attack. And when that happens, you have to be careful, because we become tired sometimes doing the work of the Lord. So you're working in church and you're doing projects after projects and you're helping and you're doing all of these things, but you are tired. You're tired and you're burnt out. And so the enemy finds an opportunity to come in. And so you start feeling distant from the Lord, because while you're working for the Lord, you are really not having a relationship with him. It's almost like, some persons who work in like multinational corporations, and because they work in these big organizations, they get the instruction as to what to do, and they're working and they might be diligent workers, but they do not have a relationship with their CEO or the head of the organization. The kingdom is different. While we work in the kingdom, God requires relationship from us. So you cannot be so caught up in working for the Lord that you're not working with him. You're not having a relationship with him. You're not communicating with him. You're not spending time in his presence. He's not inviting you to come at the table. A table is always set for us. But if we're so busy working, then it means that we're going to have that problem. We're going to start feeling distant. If it is that you become overwhelmed and you become overworked, how is it that you correct that so you can reconnect with the Lord? The first thing I would say is that it might mean that you need to start ensuring that you schedule time to be with the Lord, time to read, time to pray, time to just surrender to the Lord and to spend time in his presence. The other thing that you might need to do is delegate, because some of us in Christendom, we act as if we can do it all. We are the only one who can do everything. We do not teach anybody, we do not train anybody, we do not delegate the task. And I know not that sometimes you cannot find persons who are willing. You just can't find them. But you have to ask the Lord and seek the Lord that He can put people in your pathway and do succession planning so you can move on to something different, and you can delegate and you can assign responsibilities to other persons so that the load can be shared. And definitely you have to ensure that you get some rest. If you're tired, you have to ensure that you get some rest in. That is important. And the final one that I'll share today is that you have to check yourself to see what is it that you're feeding your mind, what is it that you're feeding your spirit. A lot of times we spend, especially now in this time, we find ourselves, what they call it, watching the marathons. I don't remember what they call it. Somebody remember, they can put it in the comments on it. Binge watching, that's what it's called. So we find ourselves watching these shows over and over and over. And you start at 10 and 10 in the night, you're still watching. And we keep doing that each day. We keep watching these reality shows, and they're not teaching us anything, and they're feeding us with the quarrels and the drama and all these things. And we find ourselves again feeding our spirit with what is not edifying, with what is not uplifting, with what is definitely not feeding us, but pulling out every fiber that we have in us. And we have to ensure that we check what is it that we're feeding ourselves. Is it that we have connected with some persons now who are have nothing to offer? So they're spiritually dry. We already feel distant from the Lord, and they're just being not adding any value to your life. Check your space, check your associates, check your friends to see, is it that I am connecting with people who are not pouring into me, and I can't pour into them either. And so we're really not doing any benefit to each other. It's not any mutual benefit, but mutual harm. And so you have to ensure that you check that. Now, if it is that you are feeding yourself the wrong things, the wrong word, the wrong people, the wrong places, then it means that you need to readjust that. Simple tasks, turn off the TV. Simple tasks, instead of from the 10 a.m. to the 10 p.m. watching the TV or listening to some music or listening to some things on YouTube that really not edifying us. We start listening to things that will edify us. We start speaking to people that will edify us. We start going to places that is feeding our spirit, and that we can also pour into people, because it's mutual benefit. That is important. So I say to us, if it is that you are feeling distant from the Lord right now, or at any point in time, check yourself. The question you should ask, am I being complacent? Did I just experience a spiritual high and now I'm like, just feel as if I can run on that? 2, am I overwhelmed and tired? Is it that I might be under spiritual attack? And 3, am I feeding myself the right things? What am I feeding my mind? What am I feeding my spirit? And if you can identify any of these 3 things, make the adjustment. Get back in the word, get back into worship, get back into the presence of God. And sometimes that's not so easy. So sometimes you might not even be able to start the routine. You might just have to start listening to some music and listening to some sermon. Some word can start convicting you, and some songs can start ministering to you. And then you find yourself going back into the word, and then you find yourself praying, and then you find yourself fasting, and then you find yourself reconnecting with people who pour into you and people who will share things that can help you to grow spiritually. And you find yourself not having the appetite to watch certain things and to listen to certain things anymore. And I say to you, if you're feeling distant from the Lord, try those things. start over, get back to the place where you found Him, and do the things that we already know that we're supposed to do. I hope this was a blessing. I hope this was something that you could understand. I did it simple, nothing difficult, said it straightforward. Sometimes we know the things, but we needed to be reminded. And I hope that this was a good reminder to you and you will put these things in practice if you feel distant from the Lord. So thank you again for watching this video. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, and the Lord bless you. I just want to pronounce a special blessing on you. Continue to seek the Lord and continue to grow in faith and continue to walk in faith, because our aim is to please God. And God says if we're going to please Him, we have to walk by faith. Do have a good night. Thank you, and watch again for another video when we'll look at some more things that will bless you. Have a good night or a good day.